Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Cars, Computers, and Canines. Today we're going to be putting some security lights on the house. We've got a bunch of floodlights. Some of them have motion sensors, some of them don't. None of them really work with LEDs. We're going to install some ones that are compatible with LEDs. That way we can stay safe and energy efficient. Let's get started. So today we're going to be working with these Heath Zenith motion activated lights, the HZ-5411, the white version. The key thing about these is they don't have the dimming function, so they'll work with LED lights that you can't dim. This is exactly what I needed, no frills. Alright, I'll show you what's in the box. Obviously the light fixture itself, black wire, white wire, and a ground screw. There's a little insulator for the back of that, your hardware kit, and a set of instructions. Now some of the functions on here, you can see right here is a switch where you can put it 1 minute, 5 minutes, or 10 minutes for this to turn on after it detects motion. And there's a test so you can actually go out there and wave and it'll turn on and off pretty quick, just so you can see it's working. I like to put it on just 1 minute because I don't need it for a long time and I don't want to bother my neighbors. This range sensor is how far you want it to detect motion. I've found that if you do anything less than max, it only detects stuff like right in front of it. So I've just left it on the max setting, and that's good for about 5 or 10 feet. There's also this brightness sensor, so it doesn't turn on during the daytime. A little red light, and then obviously the motion sensing thing itself. And this is the fixture we're replacing. It's one of those, it's got LEDs built in, so you never have to replace the bulb type of things. Except one of them is filled completely with water, and we'll just pull the whole thing off and we'll install the new one. Gotta figure out how to take this off. A lot of them come with little rubber caps. You pull them off and there's a screw underneath. One thing I did forget to mention is make sure you turn your breaker off before you mess around with these wires, because even if you just have the light switch off, sometimes there's a common wire in there that's still got power in it. So you'll see the ground wire wasn't attached. Great start. And then this, that's interesting. I kind of put it underneath this mount. This mount's actually similar to the one we're going to use, so I may not even take that off. If you've got a mount that's similar, you can take your mount from the hardware bag. If it's similar to this, you can just reuse that. There's no need to take that back off. Now, a lot of these have very similar hardware, so you can see right here, this is pretty much the same as this, so I'm going to leave this. I might tighten those screws a little bit, but I'll just leave this in here. So here's something a little interesting. So this one has, right there, you can see that there's a little spade terminal. So I might actually be able to take the ground wire off of this, put it on the new hardware, and just reuse that. So as you can see, that actually worked out really well. We're able to take the ground screw and just put that little green wire under there, so it'll be real easy to tie that in with the really short ground in this box. So the wire in here comes pre-stripped. It's real easy, black to black, white to white. This green ground wire is going to go to that bare copper wire. If you've got a real short wire like I do, just kind of do your best to get it up there. Another thing you want to make sure you remember is to put this little felt pad up here, because if you forget, you'll have to take your wires back off. So now, we're going to twist these wires around. You want to twist them the same way you're going to twist the nut on. And it's just like using a screw. Just twist it. You don't have to be like the Incredible Hulk, but once it kind of stops going and your finger starts slipping, that's tight enough. And also, make sure you got it lined up the way you want to line up. In this case, I want this to face out there. And I dropped the screw. Alright, this time. Alright, so this needs to be like that. This can ship up there, and can ship up here. Sometimes you can go around everything. Line up the way it needs. And also realize, shoot, ground wire, I didn't thread through the felt insulation thing. don't have to be tightened like the Incredible Hulk, just enough to get a good seal, because you don't want this to strip off or anything. Now we can line up our lights. There's little nuts here that you can tighten to get them lined up the way you want them. It can be a little awkward to get the right angle, and don't forget to motion sensor. You do want to make sure that this isn't too close to any of your lights, otherwise it'll turn on by itself. Also, one tip, point these down, especially if you have really powerful lights. You don't want to blind your neighbors. I had a neighbor that had security lights on all night long, pointed way high up to where they were shining almost exactly into my bedroom window. So, moral of the story is, don't be a jerk. Point your lights down so you aren't bothering your neighbors, and set them on a motion sensor or a timer so they're not on all night. Now for the light bulbs we're going to use for this, I've got LEDs that are 120 watt equivalents, but they only use 15 watts. Daylight type, so really bright, clear blue light, you know, good for security. Now one thing that these have, I only bought these because they were some of the cheapest ones, but this one actually has a dusk to dawn sensor, so these lights, even if you plug them in a regular fixture, they won't turn on until it's dark. But for our use, they were cheap and they work in our fixtures, so they'll be fine for what we need to use. Alright, and there we have it. Our security lights with the sensor all set, and our two lights here. So we'll have to wait till night to really test them out, but these should work out great. I'll record again at night to show you kind of how they work as far as the motion sensing goes. So as you can see, we have our new lights installed. I got them pointed down so they have pretty good light coverage. It's nice and bright out here, but not distractingly so. I'll kind of show you the motion sensor as I walk up here to this one. See, it's kind of pointed that way, but I just come around the corner and there we go. Nice big big brightness area. So these are great security lights, and like I said, I have them set to just stay on for about a minute, and they'll come on when you get about 5-10 feet away from them. So I hope you enjoyed this review of the security light and these LED light bulbs. We'll see you next time.